Well, guys, we made it through 2020. Hopefully none of that crap from 2020, the negative stuff, follows us into the new year. Boys, man, hit the like button for me. Let's get this year started off good. This video, I'm going to go back in 2020 and highlight the better things that we did and some of the bad things. I'm going to talk about the best and worst purchases that we made in 2020. And looking back at that little intro, man, 2020, it did have some weird stuff go down. Probably weird does not even come close to even defining what happened in 2020. And just thankful that myself, family members, and everybody around me, we're all doing healthy. And hopefully you guys' families just doing the same. Staying healthy, staying positive, and just getting her done and putting in the work, because there's been a lot of negativity and stuff that's came in 2020. But thankfully, the team here at V-Belt & Son, we still kept putting in the work, and it paid off. We didn't hold back. Taylor and I added up what I grossed this last year, and dang, I'm fairly happy with it. So thank you guys for watching my videos, and we're gonna go through and hopefully continue with the V-Belt & Son videos. Need to talk about some of this purchases V-Belt and I made last year. We made quite a few of them, so I'm just going to highlight the goods and bads, and I think I'm going to miss quite a few of them, but I went and got all the Dodge trucks I possibly could. Apparently he bought all the mulchers he could, and I'm going to sum it up and show you guys. Just 2020 was a terribly great year. It was bad, but then it was good at the same time. I think it really showed your character, and if you were just going to fight through it and make it happen, I think it worked out alright. But hopefully 2021 will be even better. So enjoy the video.
So for everybody that's here for the truck stuff, let's start off with the 94 Dodge that we got for Dad. 12 valve, 3500 dually. Does have an automatic. I think we're going to have to step that thing up a little bit so we can throw some power at it. I wish you would drive it more, but I would say that this 12 valve was the best 12 valve purchase of 2020. One owner, absolutely clean grandpa truck. Now this purple truck had been sitting for about 5 years. I just bought it because I didn't want the guy to part it out. Surprise to me, this thing actually cleaned up and turned out to be a pretty nice truck, but I'm going to be putting this thing up for sale in about a week or so. It needs to, loosen up some funds for some other stuff. 98 12 valve 5-speed. Now the green truck, this thing, I just bought it because the deal wasn't bad, but I saw some potential and we cleaned this thing up great. Man, there's a lot of work into this. 94 2500 with original 5-speed. That truck is just something else now. It's definitely one of my favorites, and I don't think I want to sell it. But when I wasn't looking for a truck, this one showed up. Luck of the draw. Some old boy pulled up to me when I was parked on the side of the road, said he watched my videos. I knew his family, but I never met him. Made me a heck of a deal on this thing. It's a 2001 24 valve with a 5-speed. I got no complaints. This truck was just perfect. But first gen, I needed to get one of these at some point in my life, and this one was literally $500. Wasn't looking for it, and it stumbled into my hands. But it gets stuck fairly easily. I got some things I'm going to do to that. I did go through a weird stage where I was experimenting with Ford, but thankfully Tow Piglet came through and let me test drive one of his trucks with a good sized load. Showed me the light, and I'm happy I didn't go ahead and buy a 2020 Ford. And, well, it pulls good, but doesn't slow down. Got to drive a 2020 Ram 3500 and unbiased. Thanks Tabit for the truck, but this thing, I still Ram Cummins all. Okay, best and worst equipment purchases. Somewhere we bought this little ride lawnmower for my grandma. She wanted this thing. We went and picked it up. It was more fun just to go pick it up with my uncle and haggle with the guy. But this thing was not the greatest. She used it for a little while. It ended up throwing one of the blades on the mower. She couldn't find it, and they couldn't find a replacement. So this thing wasn't a very good purchase. But I'll tell you what, it's fun. It came with a lot of attachments, and this next purchase was by far the worst one of 2020. Customer service was terrible. I talked to these people before I bought it, tried to make a YouTube deal, nothing happened. But the thing broke driving off the trailer, unloading it for the first time. $35,000 machine that actually splits wood very well, but can't handle driving down. Obviously, it's not the master link, but it is just every other link on this chintzy chain for the drives. It broke one of the links. Just rolled off the trailer. Someone could have got killed. This was by far the worst purchase. So from now on, it will be the better one. Next is a spider lift. This thing stretches out 72 feet high. I fought Dad for a long time about him wanting to get one of these things, but I'll tell you what, he was right. This thing takes your efficiency to a whole nother level. A climber simply can't compete with what this thing can do if you're limbing around houses and stuff like this. Take this one for instance. He is over a building, got danger close and stuff. I don't know if a climber would really go out on the tips of these branches to do what he's doing, but this lift does it with ease. I don't know if this is the best purchase of 2020 as far as equipment, but it is right close to it. This thing it's just awesome. I love it. This purchase here was another one been eyeballing for a long time and finally made a deal with the salesman. It is a 2013 Prinoth Alvi RT200. It is a PTO-driven, dedicated masticator. This thing is what you'd go out in the logwoods and stuff, clean up slash, clear for fire prevention and stuff like that. The cool thing about this is it is PTO-driven versus the hydraulic. That's what really intrigued Dad about this machine. And you can see the setup we got. I actually built a loading dock for this thing to be unloaded on, but I didn't expect the guy to show up on a low-profile trailer. So we used mine. We made it happen. Haven't actually used this machine yet because it needed to be cleaned out. The purchase on this was a very, I would say, reasonable price. It was still very expensive, like a couple Laramies kind of expensive. But for what it is and how much this thing can do hourly or per day, you get your money back out of it, everything going right. But he's been cleaning on it, working on a few kinks out of it, and just really been working this whole time, so he hasn't had time to work on it. But the salesman that sold it to us, man, that was a shady bloke. I wasn't very happy with how he treated us. So as far as cool factor, this thing is definitely high up on the purchases of 2020. For the best purchase of 2020, she wasn't ready to work. She's kind of expensive. Salesman sucked, so it didn't quite make the cut. One of the cooler purchases and very necessary ones, I got this rear bumper for the TL12. I got this from Precision Armor. You can find them on Facebook. This thing, it's like the Achilles heel were addressed on this machine. Got covers for the hydraulics, got a rear bumper for it. The TL12, we got this thing in 2019. It might make the cut for the best purchase of 2020. I love the TL12, but having the bumper and the guard on there, that was another good purchase, but that's not really full equipment.
Okay, so we had a couple iffy tractors that were bought. For the most part, they weren't bad. I want to note on the Prinoth, the new mulcher masticator. Dad did run it the other day, but it needs new teeth. It needs the hood fixed on it. I'll explain more when that thing comes up into play, but he actually did run it, and there is some noticeable pros versus that over a Prime Tech. So he's definitely looking forward to it. There's a couple quirks on that thing that, like air conditioning controls, that wouldn't really make sense for a normal person. Why don't they just have hot cold knob and high and low and then turn the air condition on? They try to overcomplicate some stuff trying to make it cool sometimes, and that just, you don't really need to do that. Simple is sometimes better. But the final and what I believe to be the best purchase that we made in 2020, we did have to work on it after the first 20 hours, but nevertheless, I think that this next piece of equipment, we got lucky on the purchase, and it's sad to see another buddy go out of the tree work and go into the trucking business, but we got to buy one of the coolest pieces of equipment off of him. The second remote control machine of 2020 we bought early December, I think, so the track chipper. Bought this thing 3 days ago. Hopefully this thing works out good. 18-inch Bandit track chipper.
the Bandit track chipper. I honestly think this was the best purchase of 2020. We've been talking about getting one of these for so long, and it was another one of those things we weren't quite, fully committed to buying one at the time, but our buddy was selling one, and he made us a pretty dang good price on it. So we knew the history of the machine. It's 3 years old, 1,800 hours on it. We got it for half price of a new one. And, I mean, it does come at a cost buying used stuff. It was 20 hours in the lower feed wheel. It had to do a little fabrication to it. Cost a lot more time than it cost money. But now it's back in action. Used it another 10 plus hours on the current job. And this thing, what it's done is it's allowed us to double our production, I will say, because I can still do my normal job, which is moving logs around, skidding some stuff, staging the brush for the masticator to come through. But that would take Dad to stop what he's doing from falling trees or running the masticator on something else, and he would have to come over and grind stuff, where I can run 2 machines at one time and he can still do whatever he wants to do on the job. So essentially it's made me worth twice as much an hour, or actually in the case of the production value that this machine offers us. What my current hourly is, we went up by about 3 times, and I mean, we might honestly, this thing just gets it done. I don't even know, it's fair to the customers, the prices that we charge, so I'm not saying we're gouging or nothing, but how much more efficient we are with this track chipper, because it's one pass for this whole treetop to go through. As far as a masticator, even the bigger ones, it's going to take probably 4 to 5 times longer, because it's got to do a pass down, it's got to do a pass back, it might leave some branches out the side. As far as this one, it just pulls everything right into it. Any small branches that are left laying around, we still do bring a masticator to the jobs. The TL12 is a fairly easy option. It's skid steer, rubber tracks. It can go on the blacktop on and off. It's not a problem. And it can go back through and re-groom these jobs. So just because I leave a couple branches that are hard to get and time consuming to pick up with the grapple and throw it in the chipper, this thing could go back through and it's virtually just like mowing the grass with it. And the TL12, that was, if it was bought in 2020, it might be one of the dang top tier purchases. But I forgot all about this footage. You cut this tree down. Some of this stuff I'm watching for the first time myself too, guys. But take this quick, easy example of the situation. I did bring the tree shear for this job, but it was easier for Dad just go around and fall trees by hand. That is really his go-to calling. He loves falling trees. But he's going to knock this little guy down right here. I'm going to come over with the excavator. I'm going to pick the whole tree up, and I'm just going to throw it straight in the chipper, and it's going to be done with. Anybody in the business, or you're in the business yourself, and you think that your skid steer, even with knives, your CMAF head, your Fecon, whatever head, if you think you can compete with how fast this chipper can grind up, or any chipper rather, if it'll fit in the chipper, it's going to take the tree and grind it up a lot cleaner and a lot more efficient than any skid steer masticator, even a bigger machine compared to the PT-175 Prime Tech. This chipper just, it completely outdoes it, and it's such a cleaner product. I like it so much better. But you see, it's automatic stop. If it feeds too much in there, bogs down the engine, it'll stop it, back it up, wait for it to rev back up, and I can control this thing fully remote control from inside the cab. So I don't need somebody else out there running that. It's just me.
One more thing on the track chipper, why I think it was the best piece of equipment that we bought in 2020. Efficiency alone, it speaks for itself, but efficiency in other areas, what it takes to keep that efficiency up. Like a masticator, there's so many more moving parts to keep that thing going. For one, you got to have an air conditioner to sit in one of those things. Constant battle air conditioners in these machines. This one, my air conditioner works great in the excavator because it's not like a high production, revved up all the time kind of a machine. So this one, roll out the air conditioning. Undercarriage. This thing does not need to track around all the time, gobbling stuff up. like a masticator does that's got to cover all the ground. Secondly, the efficiency with this thing, it's all in the knives. It's all just taking and grinding what needs to be ground. A masticator is grinding up dirt and everything with it, so there's quite a bit more wear on mulcher head, more teeth are required. There's just 4 knives on this thing. Granted, they go duller a lot faster than carbide, but they're a lot easier to place, a lot easier to sharpen, and if you're good at your job, you're not going to be running stumps and stupid stuff like that through the chipper. But at the end of the day, it's easier to keep the upkeep on this thing. Now, I know we did have to fix the lower roller on this, but that is unfortunate, I'll say the least on that, because thing had 1,858 hours when we got it. We put 20 hours on it. That happened. We fixed it. It's running flawless since. It's got 2 turbos on it. I believe it's like a 170 horsepower machine. Absolute champ. But we got one more final thing. By the way, did I say I can run both of them from one machine? That is another perk. Anyway, we got one more category, and that is the trailers that we bought in 2020. The best and worst of those, actually there's not really a bad one, but I'm just going to lay it out for you guys just so you can see. It was a very good, expensive year, I'll say that much. But let's go through. I bought 2 of these trailers from David, and the other one from, where'd we get that on? Facebook.
Now, this thing was mainly bought to haul the skidder behind Andy's self-loading logging truck. Seen this thing on Marketplace for a while. Finally got Andy go down there, talk to him in. We picked this thing up, very reasonable price. It's a early 2000s trailer, but I would say it's about as close to new as you could get. Fairly, very low miles on it. It's a 40,000 pound rated, 21 deck, 5-foot dove, pintled trailer, air brakes, the works. It's a pretty nice trailer for how much paid for it. Don't know how we feel about the idea of putting the big excavator on it. It might handle it, might not. Just kind of depends on the truck. We'd have to get a different semi to make that happen, or even be close to thinking about making it happen. We'll see if 2021 adds a semi to the fleet that I'll be driving. It might not. I got a couple things I'll show you at the end of this video that will possibly sway my finances in a different direction, mainly to please you guys with some new content. But this was one of the cooler trailers. Now, I bought 2 brand new trailers from this gentleman. I travel all the way out to the middle of Nevada, Winnemucca. Visit David at the trailer store. I picked this trailer up, and originally I bought it for maybe a Razor or my dirt bikes currently, but I think this 20-foot Charmac enclosed trailer that I picked up might fit something in here that's going to be quite a bit different than a dirt machine. But that was the first trailer I bought from him. And the next one I bought was, well, I'm pretty proud of this one. I think this was the best trailer purchase of 2020 because I got to work with Diamond C, got to work with Trailer Store. Stillwell Jacks hopped on with this, and I got to design a trailer that pretty much fit the bill of everything that I wanted out of just an awesome ultimate bumper pull trailer. 20K rated. 22-foot deck. This is the engineered beam, super single tires, or whatever you want to call it, 17.5s. It's got the big toolbox on the front. I bought it so I can haul the 12 or the small excavator without needing to have a big one. Awesome perk of this trailer is that I can haul these junk project trucks that I always pick up. Got a winch plate now on it so I can winch these junkers if they don't run. And I actually did have a couple other jobs lined up for this thing before I bought it that I planned on using this trailer from. I didn't make a video of this. Maybe if you guys pester me enough later on, I might. We did some legal stuff, and we moved a whole freaking mini house.
That pretty much wraps up the best and worst purchases we made in 2020. Some of them were borderline. We probably should have thought a little harder, but I think a lot of it kind of fell back onto the person we bought it from was a little shady. There was a couple other purchases that I almost made, but I kind of ran out of time. Literally, as I'm finishing up this edit, is 2021. I am putting in the late hours so you guys can see this. Hopefully you're taking the day off, Friday, today, and we are going to work. But here's a couple rigs that I am actively looking for. If you guys come across them, I would prefer to find a crew cab long bed old Ford like my buddy Justin's, you seen that turquoise rig on here, I'd rather find one of those. But my buddy Justin found this first gen that's got a 73 cabin frame, 93 running gear underneath it, 94 engine and trans. It was in LA, which is about 500 miles from me. That is what everybody thinks California is LA. Northern California is not like LA. Trust me, a lot of red. Anyway, this truck, I tried to get it, but it fell through. But why I'm selling everything, if you guys didn't gather it, I am trying to find a generally would work, but I would rather find a black 68, and it is difficult right now in the market. So right now, if you guys know of any that are in decent shape, let me know. Find me on Instagram, Samson_Andrew or VBeltonSon, or email will be in the description below. But I'm actively looking for one of those cars. It's not to copy anybody. It's just right now in my life, I feel like I have an opportunity to seize the day to buy my damn dream car and stop buying all these Dodge diesel trucks. Now, I mean, if I find a good deal on a Dodge diesel, we're gonna probably buy it. But trying to buy original Mopar, I'm trying to find my roots, why I started liking Dodge, and it is this damn car right here. So I did find a guy that's building one right now, but I'm not really convinced on how quick they build these cars. So I don't want to buy a rust bucket piece of crap that's been covered up by Bondo. I want to buy something that's nice, even if I have to spend the extra money. But this concludes 2020's best and worst video, purchase, bullcrap, whatever. It is late, guys. I am tired. Hopefully this video uploads in time so you can see it on New Year's Day. But thank you so much for all the support. It really means a lot to me. And, man, I can't say thank you enough. Love you guys. Appreciate it. Happy New Year. Stay safe out there. World, turn back on.